I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Welcome, everyone. We are being broadcast live over Van Buren Television Channel 12, and I am led to believe now that we are being streamed even more live on YouTube. Supervisor, would you please, Clerk Wright, would you please call the roll?
Sure will. Trustee White. Present. Trustee Miller. Here. Trustee Martin. Here. Trustee Frazier. Here. Treasurer Bud is excused. Clerk Wright is present. Supervisor McNair.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Executive summary of the revised agenda. Tonight we have a consent agenda which consists of the very important appointment of Ms. Denise Partridge, who's returning to the township. She'll be serving as the Water and Sewer Commission. She, in the past, was a trustee here and served with the Water and Sewer Commission. She's been very active in the community for many years, and we're very happy that she's going to join us. We're also going to be reappointing William Ozier. William Ozier is on the Construction Code of Appeals, and we're very thankful that he's willing to give us time for that. In new business today, will be the consideration, very important consideration, of our 2020 salary wage scale, the 2019 amended budget, and the 2020 proposed general fund budget. This includes the special revenues budget and the proposed water and sewer budget. Other new business will include approval of purchase of 5 high-tech walls from a construction for our finishing up our construction of the building, and approval. We're going to consider approval of the purchase from American Interiors to complete the main office and police furniture renovations. We're also looking to approve the construction of a Belleville Square water main loop project. And finally, we'll be having a second reading of an ordinance to allow some odd-shaped lots on Belleville Lake to be built. Next item is adoption of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to adopt the agenda as presented. Support.
I have a motion by Miller, supported by Frazier. Hearing no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Next is adoption of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion? Trustee Martin or White?
I make a motion to adopt this consent agenda, which consists of the approval of the appointment of Denise Partridge to the Water and Sewer Commission with a term to expire June 1st, 2021. Approval of reappointment of Bill Ozier to the Construction Code of Appeal Board with a term to expire February 28, 2022. Approval of revision to the LDFA bylaws, work study session minutes of September 30th, 2018. Closed session minutes of September 30th, 2018. Board meeting minutes for October 1st, 2018. Prepaid list of October 3rd, 2018. Prepaid list of October 10th, 2018. And the voucher list of October 15th, 2018.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion for approval, and I have support. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Next, we go to public hearing, of which we have none. We are now into correspondence, announcements, and presentations. I can begin on your side, Trustee White.
The Yankee Air Museum is sponsoring a Veterans Day luncheon at September Day Senior Center to honor and salute our American heroes on Thursday, November the 7th at noon. All are invited. Please join us for a memorable event and time. Also, please respond to 734-699-8918 by Monday, November the 4th. Lunch will be $3. So everyone out in our community, please make it every effort to attend this honorable meeting, a salute to our American heroes. Thank you.
Trustee Martin.
I'm pleased to announce the annual Halloween Candy Loop sponsored by Van Buren Township. It will be held on Saturday, October 26th from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., rain or shine at Quirk Park. If raining, the event will be moved into Township Hall. Businesses looking to be a part of this event, please call 734-699-8921 to obtain your free sponsorship package.
Clerk Wright.
Okay, we have a special election will be held Tuesday, November the 5th, 2018, for registered voters in the Van Buren Public School District. Precinct 3 and 4 at the Township Hall will remain open for voting on Election Day. However, the administrative offices will be closed during regular business hours. We will, for the first time during my administration, we will have, account clerks will be working the elections on Election Day. They will be working in the absentee counting room. The clerk office will be open from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, November 2nd, for voter registration and absentee voting. If you are interested in receiving a ballot, please contact the clerk's office for an application. Just a reminder, you no longer need a reason to vote by mail. The work study session scheduled for November the 4th and November the 5th, 2019 will be canceled due to the election. The Township Administrative Office will be closed on Monday, November the 11th, in observance of Veterans Day. As of today, the clerk's office has sent out 3,345 absentee applications for absentee voting. Have received back 2,007 ballots that have been sent out, and 892 of those ballots have been returned. Historically, we receive about 98% of our ballots that sent out will be returned by Election Day. Just as a note, we have 21,487 registered voters in Van Buren Township. Sometimes we hear in the clerk's office that, well, this is a small election. Only time we call an election small is really with the one that we had in August when we only had the one precinct. Any other election like this election or any other election, gubernatorial, whether it's a local or school election that we're going to be holding on August 5th, it's a full-fledged election. There's no such thing as a small election. On every election, we offer the constituents, all 21,487 is offered the opportunity to vote. Whether they come out and vote is up to them, but we have to offer them the opportunity to vote. So we have to do the same thing every single time. Every time we have an election, we have to do the same process. We have to send out the same forms. We have to file the same things. We have to program the machines. We have to do everything that we would do for every time for any election, whether it's a presidential election, a gubernatorial election, or just a special election like we have in November the 5th. The same protocol has to be followed. So there's no such thing as a small election. It all depends on whether our electorate come out and vote. Thank you.
Thank you.
Through the chair. I'd just like to remind voters that the issue on the ballot is for a renewal for the school's millage. It is not for an increase to build the early childhood center near the high school. It would move from Haggerty School to St. Anthony's property by the high school. And it would be for 3-year-olds to early 5s. It would include. And it's a very important, preschool is very important. Thank you.
Would you like to continue on with your announcements?
Sure. Well, your kids can get all sugared up. Join the Belleville Area Museum for Kids a Halloween and costume party that they're having on Sunday, October 27th from 3 to 5. This free event includes games and candy. So bring your young ones all dressed up, and it's a contest, and we'll see all the scary faces there. And then stop by the Belleville Area Museum during the downtown Belleville Trick or Treat on Wednesday, October 31st from 5 to 7. So there's been 3 times you can get candy for your youngsters, and they don't even have to go out trick or treating.
I have a feeling Trustee Miller has one.
Oh, no.
Trustee Miller.
The September Days Senior Center will be hosting an informative workshop titled Let's Talk Dementia and Quality of Life. The last 2 classes will occur on October 17th and on October 24th at 11 a.m. This event is free, will include refreshments, goodies, and light snacks. There's still time to sign up at the center. Also, the Belleville Area Museum would like to announce the cemetery history tour fundraiser featuring Tyler Cemetery. This will occur Saturday, October 19th from 3 to 5. $10 for members and $15 for non-members.
It's always a fun thing. A lot of people use to go on that. A little note on Belleville Area Museum. I was spent a little while there today. The floor is being worked on right now. Everything's cleared out, so a few more days we'll have a new floor in there. We have a new social media person that is beginning to ramp up with videos. And I just want to show the board 2 videos that we did. These 2 videos were produced literally within hours after the events took place, and were ready to be posted. Could you go ahead, Ryan?
I'm Sergeant Jeff Gowelli from Van Buren Township Police Department. Been here about 26 years, and this is my first Coffee with a Cop event. Being able to not deal with someone who's in the middle of a crisis, but deal with someone who's here to have breakfast and coffee and just talk, person to person. Even though we're in a uniform, we're still just human beings, persons, so it lets people know that we are normal, average people. We have our own lives, families. They just see us as a uniform and a patrol car, so that's been my favorite part, so they get to see that I'm just like them. I had a bunch of gentlemen that come in here every day for coffee, and they had all kinds of stories to tell me about, and about the community and things of the past. It's very interesting. And as police officers, I think every applicant ever always said, oh, I want to help my community, or I want to be involved in my community, make it a safe place for children, Through the years, that's what we try to do.
So we've got another one coming up in October. Go ahead, Ryan. Could you play the next one? Remember we had a the planning one, master plan.
The township held 2 public engagement workshops for our master plan to provide an opportunity for residents and officials to provide input for the future of our community.
2 years ago, we want to try and build community. We want to try and bring everybody together. What do we want for the future of Van Buren Township? And the more minds that we have involved in it, the better.
We had a variety of engagement activities that help drive and create a lot of meaningful conversations that we'll be able to work into creating the master plan. We had an overwhelmingly positive turnout with over 80 individuals coming out to share their input. The feedback that we collected will be recorded and interwoven into the framework of our master plan, which is set to be adopted in 2020.
With that, we're going to let you get up, walk around, our people, the staff will be around. Let's get to it. Let's put some input, set up our future.
Just little 90-second videos and go to Facebook, so kind of stuff.
Very nice.
Okay. Pam Fleming said she might be here, so just if you're listening, Pam Fleming runs Van Buren's Goodfellows group. And the Goodfellows, or the Belleville Area Goodfellows group, I'm not sure which it's called now. But if you're out there thinking about Christmas shopping, we're collecting the presents at the police officers at the police shop. And if the first present you might want to buy would be for some kid that's not going to have one. Might be a nice way to start Christmas off. All right, so let's move on. First item of business is the new business. All right, this is where I actually have to read my budget statement, and then we'll go to the discussion. This board is presenting a budget that we've worked on for a long time. We've met many times with the departments. We made presentations, and the board's completed had detailed questioning. Many of us again met over the last month to further review the document, and we again talked at length about the budget at yesterday's workshop. The board presents this budget that takes us from spending $18.3 million in 2019 down to $17.7 million in 2020. This represents a $600,000 reduction from the current year's budget. This reduction is primarily due to the planned 2019 completion of the rebuilding of all Van Buren facilities and major infrastructure. These facilities and major capital components were fire trucks, phones, generators, internet, cable, air handlers. The list goes on and on. These things have lasted 25 years. We have now replaced most of this old infrastructure, and I can only hope that the work we have performed will last another 25 years. Taking care of what you have is a lot cheaper than building new. What we are going to be planning in this budget for next year, we are entering a historic new year in fire service. After 3 years of updating the department with all new equipment and refurbished facilities and gear, we begin the historic move of transferring this department to a full-time firefighting force, part full-time. These 6 full-time firefighters will be backed up by our excellent part-time firefighting personnel. We also have 2 Iron Belt projects starting next year. The first Iron Belt Trail will be in its final pre-construction stages for the section between Riggs Park and the city of Belleville. It'll provide a safe walking and biking along the section of Huron River Drive. This section of the project is being financed by the state of Michigan. Van Buren got a grant for $300,000 and received 3 mini-state grants totaling $150,000. In addition, the good people of Van Buren will be providing $100,000 of its own money as a match to the $450,000. The second section of the Iron Belt Trail will be to restore the dangerous road that is inside of Van Buren Township Park. If anybody's been in that park, they know the swale road. It travels from the front Pavilion Park area to the rear boathouse area where the beach is. It's been washed out over the years, and it's almost unusable. Van Buren won a $500,000 competitive federal grant, which was conducted through the county. This required no local match money, and we're going to begin working on that next year. We have also begun rebuilding the French Landing Park in its entirety with grant proceeds from the Wayne County. We have $120,000 in grant proceeds there. And today we were informed through an email, not official, but it's good enough for me right now, that an additional $31,000 grant was added to the county's 2020 budget. I really need to pause to say thank you to Commissioner Alhaitis and to County Executive Warren Evans. I don't know if anybody's ever done the math, but I just did it quickly in my head. We've got over $1 million worth of grants from Wayne County in the last 3 years. We are also planning on beginning to build out a public services storage and maintenance area at the old Woodland Meadows Golf Course. We will receive a 20-year no-cost lease from Waste Management. Waste Management will also contribute $5,000 per year for utility costs to the Van Buren, to this township of Van Buren. These are our large-scale projects in the planning mix for next year. They're built into this budget. In addition, we will continue to dialogue our master plan updates, or what do the citizens actually want Van Buren to look like in the future. We will also continue the discussion of a community center and what type of park we can develop at the MDNR Park site at Belleville Road and the water. So to the board, I present to you the 2020 budget with all the funds and wage schedules. I'm going to make one last addition. At our work study yesterday, it became very obvious that two things wanted to be changed. One was the moving of the REAL program from the board to the supervisor's office, which is okay. It's great. And the other was to add $100,000 to the firefighters' part-time wages number. And we've all pretty much agreed to that, or the majority of us have agreed to that. So in light of that, I would like to call on Trustee Reggie Miller to make the motion before we begin discussion.
Yes, I'd be happy to. I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2019-13, the 2020 salary and wage schedule and resolution 2019-22, the 2019 amended and 2020 proposed general fund budget with the amendment of moving line item real wages 101-101-706-000 and real expenses 101-101-956-001 to the Supervisor's Department for 2020 fiscal year and adding an additional $100,000 to the 2020 firefighters' wages on call, line item 101-336-706-000 to total of $744,252.
Support.
Okay. All right, I've got motion, I've got support. Hearing discussion. Trustee Miller, you made the motion.
Yes, so I had made the suggestion of moving the real expenses because the program's under the supervisor. And Nicole Sumter, Director Nicole Sumter, she runs this program. So I thought it was only fitting to have this reflect in your budget,
Okay.
under your line item.
Any other comments?
Yes, this year, I have to thank the supervisor for putting together this budget and including all of us. I don't absolutely agree 100%, I never will, but I was included in the discussions. My suggestions were taken under consideration. He met with me twice, along with Trustee Frazier this last time, and it was for over 2 hours that last time. Once it was over the phone because I couldn't come in, but he accommodated me every single time. Through the years, I see this budget get better and better, and it's always nice to see that there's a schedule in here. And I know you can all see this online, but it shows the schedule of what we do, when we do it, and why we do it. So all of this will be online with the suggested changes that Trustee Frazier brought yesterday about different line items that needed to be adjusted to reflect those changes. So I think it's great. And you're under how much now? How much did you say the budget? It was,
17.6 million. We were at 18.3, I think we're going down to 17.6.
that's significant.
Although I don't think I added in the $100,000,
Okay,
so
but even with that,
17.7.
that's still significant.
We're moving down, yes. and-
That's wonderful. So I commend you on that, absolutely. That, I don't know how you did that one, but congratulations. When will this be posted? After we go ahead and approve it tonight, when can residents look at this?
I have to ask my assistant how long it takes. Actually, literally, we can scan it in, I'd say Thursday,
Okay.
yeah.
And this can change from time to time. It's a living document throughout the year,
Yes.
and it can be adjusted as needed. All right, thank you.
Trustee Frazier,
I'd just like to say we worked hard on coming to consensus. We discussed it, and sometimes we discussed it way too much, no. But it was a consensus-building effort on our part to provide the resources and the community services, the best quality that we can give for the money. And I appreciate everyone's effort on that.
thank you.
Through the chair.
Trustee Martin?
I'd like to also commend this board on this current budget. The fact that we get an early start and we can really get down into the nuts and bolts of what's going on with the township, which allows us more time to hash out any issues that we have, or just to overall just go over the budget. And so you don't have to be under the gun. You're not forced. You don't feel like you're forced to make a quick decision or whatever. We have time to study it and to digest it. So I commend the board for their effort in this budget.
Okay. Trustee White, did you want to comment?
Most definitely. I've generally been acceptive to the budgets and everything, even though last year I thought we had items in there that were inappropriate as far as raises go. Pick and choose on who you think you want to give a raise to. Last year it was 2 different raises for employees of $15,000 each. I thought that was very excessive. I brought that forth to you. Again, this year you're giving raises to several people And in all honesty, it is being given to the trustees, but then again, you refuse to even consider why you're giving raises to just individuals and unproven in that basis. I still think that we have too much money in our general budget, and all the reports are looking for austere times in the next few years. We have the Visteon debacle looking us in the face, and there's just many different reasons. And my biggest complaint is, and I always state this every meeting and a lot of times, this is not our money. This is money belongs to the residents, and it is money that we need to use to benefit our residents. That's the basis. We are here to give the best services that we can to our residents. Public safety comes first, and it'll always be first in my estimation. Everything else is gravy in the budget. And we are lucky to have the landfill here to have that, and if we didn't, we would have a very austere budget. But just because we have a couple of $1 million coming from the landfill every year gives us no right to not be conservative in our budget. And it just irks me to no extent that you pick and choose who you want to listen to, you pick and choose who you want to give raises to, and you ignore facts and complaints about other issues. And therefore, I'm not happy at all with this budget and the amount of money that we spend on an annual basis.
Through the chair.
1 second, it's Clerk Wright's, we have to go through one time. Right?
Well, I would like to thank the board for the process that we went through. I think was a good process, started on time, ended on time. This is the second, I think the third year in a row that we actually got a start time and a finish time. And we're on target. We still have time to pass the budget, but we're ahead of time, and I think that's a good thing. I've always said that I think this board can have the capability to do the good things if we put our mind to it, and this is another good year that we sit down and had our collective thoughts. We're not going to always agree to do for this. We can agree to disagree. We shouldn't always agree to be the same, but that's how this country is made up, and that's how decisions are made. I think the items was brought up by the supervisor in the budget hearing. I remember discussion on why he decided to give raises to a certain individual. I think we all heard it if we listened, but it was brought up and clarified why that was being done. I have no issue with that. I think it's a good budget. I like what's in the budget. I think we're doing good things in the township, and I look for better years to come.
Trustee Miller.
If I could address Trustee White, I absolutely understand your concerns and criticisms, but with that, I'd like to hear what positive things that you saw come out of this budget. What do you like about it? What did you see improved?
Well,
I think it's equally important.
I see improvements in public safety as for new equipment, fire trucks over the last couple of years, new police vehicles, update in the dispatch and things of that nature. Also see improvements in areas, for example, the DDA with a splash park. And I'm cautious about that because it'll only be summer use, but I can tell you next summer that splash park will be filled every evening in hot weather. It's just the way it is, and kids love doing that in their backyard. So that's a positive.
No, what I meant was, what process did you see improved with the supervisor and this budget? Not all the good that we
Oh, okay,
did.
but you asked me about all the good stuff that's
Well,
in there.
no, what
And that's what you
process?
asked me was
with
the good stuff.
budget
And the
itself, not
process,
not all the
and
good
the
stuff,
process
the
was
budget.
okay, but as far as that goes, but I can tell you, I'm conservative when it comes to money. And a lot of it has to do with the way that I grew up. And I think that we should be that way. Our senior citizens, a majority of them on the south side, and I talk to several of them, weekly or biweekly, and they're struggling. They only have Social Security. They were not fortunate enough to be able to save enough money to help them out in these times. We have some seniors that are okay, and we have some that are really struggling. And we should consider the fact that when they send their tax dollars to our township, we should do everything we can so that we give them value for their money. And in a lot of ways, we do give them value in public services, public safety, with the Parks and Rec and with the senior center. But giving out raises willy-nilly to people that you like or whatever, and is not appropriate. I mean, for example, I work for Kroger, retired from Kroger. Every meat manager made the same way. Some meat managers were better than others. Some meat managers were not. Every meat cutter made the same wage, depending on how many years they were there. Same way with the meat wrappers. All the cashiers up front, they were on 12-month wages, you know, starting a 6-month and then a top rate, and it was that way forever. Now, I understand that we have employees in here who have different qualifications, for you can't compare everyone to our public safety department, because our public safety department commands higher wages because of the experience and the fact that they present the most liability to our township, and they work long hours. And also our patrol officers. Our patrol officers, I attended both the Coffee with a Cop at McDonald's, that, by the way, it was at McDonald's, not Tim Hortons, and had a discussion with him, and I walked up and laid my hand on the shoulder of an officer there. He was wearing a bulletproof vest in McDonald's Coffee with a Cop, and they all wear bulletproof vests. I have no issue for the safety and protection of our officers out there. I also came down to the pancake breakfast, and had pancake breakfast and sat down and had discussion with a couple of residents out there. Took a couple of little youngsters and had them had their picture taken in the fire truck. It was a real deal for them, a big deal to have a 5-year-old, you know, get his picture taken in a fire truck. That is great. And this is how we have to accomplish our township, to do things like that, and to make sure that our public safety is there. Priority number one, we can't spend enough on public safety to take care of the safety of our township in today's society. And an example was somebody mentioned a type of an issue.
Yeah, we're over the 3.
Oh, you want to shut me up? Okay, I'm done.
So I'd like you to clean,
I'm
you know,
done.
finish it up, whatever you're getting to.
I was,
She asked me for my comments, and I'm giving them to
I
you.
don't, I don't,
it
Riley,
was about the process of the budget and what improvements.
okay.
I wanted your.
And also, the budget
Okay.
does not have to be approved until December 15th, and I can guarantee you'll be back before this board before December 15th to make adjustments to it. And I'm looking for capital improvements in here, and I didn't get to see it. Last year, we approved almost $1 million on capital improvements.
We bought
A lot of it,
truck.
a lot of it unnecessary. Some of it was necessary, some of it was not.
Budget's cut. I think that's wonderful.
All set? Okay, Trustee Frazier?
I'd just like to say I share many of Trustee White's concerns, in especially about the salary wage. Our contracts call for everybody to receive a 2% raise. Some employees got a 4%, 6%. So it's based, as far as I'm concerned, on things that they did, but I think we need more realistic. I mean, one person got an educational step up, so I can see why we promoted that person. But I have concerns over that also. But I think we've done the best we can, and we've aired our concerns in public at the work study yesterday, and we've had numerous opportunities to have input, and that's about all we can do. I agree that public safety is priority number one, and that we have to keep our township safe and our residents safe, and also provide the services that they need, and a quality aesthetic community that gives them opportunities to thrive in this community.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay,
I can ask a question of the clerk.
We're still going, go ahead, yeah.
Clerk Wright, we had a discussion about how much we take in per resident for taxes. Can you talk about that and how little it is
Well, I
and
think
what
that's
we do with it?
the largest misconception we have in the township as a taxpayer. And it's ordinary because it's not the taxpayer's job to know exactly what that's, as their taxes are going, but they can inquire, and that's why I encourage the work that's gonna be done by Planning and Development Department with the dirt walls. Hopefully, we can get those up, because our job is to educate our constituents. For example, we do a lot of, we did a lot of educating during the public safety millage, but I think this need to be done year-round and yearly and all year round, so that they'll know exactly how their taxpayer dollars are being spent. For example, we have approximately a little bit over 7,500 rooftops in Van Buren Township that pays taxes. You know, if you own a home, you pay taxes. And I understand when you walk into Township Hall, if you walk into Township Hall and walk to the Treasury Department, you pay your taxes. And your taxes may be X amount, but you need to know how they are being designated. Those taxes don't necessarily have to go to Van Buren Township. Of course, our treasurer accepts the taxes and sends all the taxes received off to the state, and we get monies back in the form of statutory revenue, which equates to, I think the last year was a little bit over $220,000. Well, $220,000 really can't pay 3 of our top directors' salary. So where do all the rest of the money comes from? And that's what we need to know as a township. Yeah, I know we hate the big mountain on the east side, but the big mountain on the east side is really the reason why we are able to, as residents, endure lower taxes and in this township and other things that we are had the advantage of having without paying high taxes. The money we get back in statutory revenue equates to about a little bit over $26 per rooftop. That's not a lot of money. Now, your money is spent wisely, but it's spent wisely. It goes out. You pay for your education, your schools that we pay for. That's a part of your taxes. Wayne County jails, Wayne County Community College, the brand new library that's being built. That's the majority of your taxes. And then we have a separate millage, which is your public safety millage, and we know that's 100% designated to public safety. And the township kicks in the rest of that, the budget that doesn't cover. But I think those are the things that need to be ran on these dirt boards and to educate the people and the public and our constituents exactly how your monies are being spent. Yes, you do pay your taxes. We are due diligent with your taxes. Matter of fact, I think we do an excellent job with your taxes, and we provide an excellent service. And we just have to remember in closing that we are a nonprofit organization. We're not in business to make a profit. I understand we can be compared to the private sector. Well, private sector corporations make sure they keep their budget tight and put most of the burden on the employees, so they can tax their budgets can be low so that they can pay their stockholders, and that's who's in business to make the profits. Their stockholders. We're not here to make a profit. We're here to collect taxes and provide service for our residents. And as long as we can do that fiduciarily, and that is the job of the board, you're right. You are here to be fiduciarily responsible, but that's to oversee the monies and make sure that it's being spent based on how it comes in. And I think we do an excellent job as this board in maintaining and spending the money of this township. And if we wasn't, I would be speaking loud and clear. But you don't hear me say a lot of stuff because I agree with things that's going on in this township. I was talking to commend the supervisor the other day that I think he's doing an outstanding job. I think the board is doing an outstanding job. And it takes this kind of communication to do that. It takes collaboration, and it takes arguments sometimes to make sure that everything is done like it's supposed to be done. But I commend this board for doing doing the job that they're doing.
Just a quick follow-up. It gets real confusing when you say how much your taxes go directly to the township.
Right.
The clerk is correct. I mean, directly the residents of the $17 million that we have, directly, Van Buren residents pay $860,000, and that's all of the 17 million. A lot of it goes to the state of Michigan, comes back as constitutional, and it comes back as other ways. But when it comes to property taxes, it's only $860,000 that comes back to the township. Now, there is a big one, though. There's $6 million that comes back to the police. So
Yeah.
that is, and without that $6 million, we have a real problem here. So we have a first-rate police and fire and dispatch. And we need to
Supervisor.
maintain it. Trustee White, you are actually up, and it's your turn.
Okay. What I would suggest is the residents in the township go to government websites surrounding us, Superior Township, Ypsilanti Township, Huron Township, Van Buren Township, City of Romulus, and pull up their budgets and see how they're spending their money, the wages that their officers make, and you'll see a lot of supervisors in the $25,000 to $35,000 range. That's strictly because they are part-time supervisors, only work a couple of hours a day, maybe 4 hours a day, and they have administrative assistants who do the job for them, or a deputy supervisor in a lot of cases. And you'll see how much trustees make, see how much they pay for their health care, the percentage of employer-paid health care, and the percentage of the employee payment on health care. So I would suggest to residents, please go to your computer, pull up everything so that you have a good knowledge of exactly how public money is being spent in other communities. We do a lot of good things for our residents, but still there's areas, I think, where we could save money and use it for other things. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Trustee Martin, second go-around, and you're welcome to go if you want to go again. I'm good. Okay.
I
We've
just
already
want to
gone.
point out that we get a lot of grants, and that helps our township greatly.
You're not in the Grand
And I
King.
appreciate the supervisor and the other department heads that are always on the lookout for a grant, because we are above and beyond getting grants. And I appreciate that as a resident and as a trustee.
Okay, I have a motion by Trustee Miller, and it's supported by Trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Do I need a,
No, nay.
opposed?
Sure.
Okay, so we go to a roll call, please.
Okay. Trustee Miller? Yes. Trustee Martin?
Yes.
Trustee White? No. Trustee Frazier?
Yes.
Trustee Butters is excused. Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, we move on to number 2. Consider adoption of Resolution 2019-25, the 2019 amended and 2020 proposed special revenue budget. This is Trustee Martin.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 2019-25, the 2019 amended, and the 2020 proposed
Okay,
special revenues budget.
Clerk Wright. Okay, this is basically part of the entire budget discussion. Special revenue funds for us include the museum, landfill, what else is in there? Excuse me.
FA.
Cemetery, the LDFA, yes. So basically, with the exception of the LDFA, everybody's fine. We are going to be doing some work on the cemeteries this year, and it's listed out in the budget, it's an extra $30,000. It's jokingly, my wife said it's an election year. Why are you working in the cemetery? Not getting any votes there, but it needs to be done.
Supervisor, when you
Yeah.
get to the cemeteries, I'd like to have a discussion with you, because my MTA plan is to do a lot of work in one specific cemetery.
Sure, we have-
As my
sure.
project.
Sure, we need to fix up our
Right.
cemeteries. They're in good shape, but they could be better. Does anybody have any questions for me on the special revenue funds? Okay, so I have a motion by Trustee Martin and supported by Clerk Wright. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. All right, next item is to consider adoption of the resolution 2019-24, the 2019 amended and 2020 proposed water and sewer budget. Jim Taylor, could you come forward as I ask for a motion for approval by somebody?
I make a motion.
Trustee Frazier? Okay. All right. I'll get some smartness. Mr. Taylor, could you give us an overall to the community about the water and sewer budget that we're approving, that we've already had like 3 different meetings on? And now they need to know what their rates are going to be for next year.
As I've, okay. The water and sewer budget is based on a 5% rate increase that we had recommended to the board and which was approved earlier. Each 1% increase in rates generates approximately $80,000 in revenue. Our anticipated cost increases for fiscal year 2020 will reach approximately $630,000. And the largest chunk of our increased costs was from Wayne County's Rouge Valley sanitary system, totaling over $360,000. The proposed 5% rate increase will generate approximately $400,000. The operational costs are decreasing by approximately $20,000, and approximately $200,000 of operational fund money will be used to supplement the gap. The fees and charges for fiscal year 2020 will remain the same for the 4th consecutive year. And even with this 5% rate increase and the budget that we've anticipated, the Van Buren Township water and sewer rates are still the lowest in western Wayne County.
That's what we want to hear, lowest. Okay. Is there any questions on this? We have an excellent sewer system. We have a wonderful director who's maintained that system. And moving forward, Trustee Miller?
So the first bill that they see with the increase will happen when?
January 1st, 2020.
Okay. On average, it will be approximately how much per?
We were
per average
estimating
household?
somewhere between $8 and $9 on the average for a 3-month, a quarterly bill.
All right, thank you.
And that's for a user of 20,000 gallons or more per customer.
Per customer.
We are noticing somewhat of a downward trend on that, so the increases will be a little bit less than that.
When you say per customer, how many per household?
That's what I mean. When I said per customer, I mean per household.
one, okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Trustee White?
As I've made comments consistently over the past years, I think the water in our area is outstanding and excellent. And as I've also previously stated, my wife and I have traveled the United States, all the provinces that border Canada, and nowhere have we ever had water that tastes as good as ours is and what we thought was excellent. You go out west to some of the arid areas, and you go into a motel room, and they'll say, please conserve water. You go into a restaurant, please conserve water. And conserved waters are all over the place out there. And it makes you realize, I grew up in southern West Virginia, and we also had water issues. Half the time we didn't have water because it came from old wells and everything. I'm very, very thankful when I turn on the spigot that we have clean, clear, decent water to drink and use. I would never object to any increase in any type of a raise for that. I know the value of water, and I fully support this resolution.
Okay.
If I may, before you take a vote, I just wanted to say that I appreciate the board approving Ms. Denise Partridge's appointment to the board, to the Water and Sewer Commission. She was here my first year that I was here. She served on the Water and Sewer Commission when I first came to Van Buren Township. And when I remember her performance, she was very professional, very diligent in how she conducted herself on that commission. So I really look forward to her being a part of that again.
Wonderful.
Agree.
I have a motion by, Trustee Miller, supported by Trustee Frazier. Hearing no further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Oppose? Motion passes. I'm going to hand the gavel for a minute. Leon, you're on number 4.
Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to move on to new business number 4. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion to consider approval of the purchase of 5 Dirt Walls, which stands for Doing It Right This Time, from Elevate Interior Construction for the total amount of $47,816, with 4 to be expensed from the Cable Capital Outlay Account 101-715-970-000, and the Assessing Non-Tech Wall to be paid with Building and Grounds Capital Outlay Account 101-265-970-000.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by trustee Miller, support by trustee Martin. Director Best, it's your time.
So today, when I was a young kid, I went to my first kindergarten class at Kinlock Elementary in Dearborn Heights. It was fantastic. I remember my teacher's name, Mrs. Stanley. I remember that there were new kids there, but the one thing that sticks out of my head is what was on the walls in the hallway. The coolest things I'd ever seen. Display cases full of huge trophies, things that I couldn't read because kindergarten, right? But I remember the impact that all that stuff on the walls had. Flash forward to today. As you know, the Township Hall has gone through renovation. Our hallways right now are a blank slate. We have many ways that we can transfer and get our information out to our residents. And we have been working with the Dirt Company, who is a subsidiary of our interior designer, American Interiors. They are a company that provides office solutions across the country. The product that we're talking about today that will get our information to our residents in a new way and unique way and fantastic way is one of the hottest products for office in the United States. We went out looking for something special to get that information out to our residents, our public notice board, with our new communications department. We met with the Dirt Company and came up with 4 tech walls, and on the visualizer here I have a location of the floor plan of the Township Hall. I'm hoping that there it is. There are 4 locations where we're putting these high-tech walls. There are 2 tech walls that are going in the entry hall and the clerk's office. There is one going in the senior center, one going in the new rec center, and finally, there is a non-tech wall, but a dirt product that is going in the head assessor's office. For these, let me show you what these products look like. This is the main tech wall that will go across from the township's board room here. That's a large glass panel with a decorative tile on the top, with 3 55-inch digital screens that will allow us to program messages, including our public notices, and specific messages to our residents, whether it's commercials like you saw earlier today about our events and videos about our events, to reminders to turn in your taxes, or welcoming a homeowners association to the Township Hall for a meeting. Another location where we're doing this work is the clerk's office. Instead of having one of these big TVs hanging off the wall, as part of our renovation of the township, we've identified the clerk's office wall as a tech wall opportunity. As you can see from this rendering, they sit flat to the wall. It's a glass panel, and the television will be under glass. The next one is in the brand new rec center, which some of you have seen and some of you haven't. There's a brand new wall that is adjacent to the new recreation desk. They will be adding a tech wall to that, and this will be their daily events. This daily events board will become more and more important as activities grow and programs increase, and the use increases due to the renovations that we've done. And finally, We can't forget our seniors, the busiest programmatic area in the township during the day. This is in the main hallway. There is a location above where they keep all their flyers. We will actually be installing a tech wall there for them to have today's activities so that the seniors have one-stop shop. They can sign in at the electronic sign-in, and then they turn around and they can see what they want, what's going on that day at the senior September Days Senior Center. So those are the technology walls. And the technology walls there will be populated by messages from the communications department and the departments running those adjacent to those, as well as the township board elected officials and trustees through the messaging from the communications department. The final product that is in this presentation, this proposal, is a glass wall that is, this is really the Dirt product line's bread and butter. They are a office company first, and they are extremely popular. In fact, Washtenaw County government and Oakland County government have moved to Dirt exclusively. They basically create an wide open space, and they put in these pieces of Dirt product that allow them to be like Legos. So you can move and shape office sizes based on the number of workers you have that month or that year. You can adjust, get bigger, get smaller, add technology, remove technology, move technology to another side of the building. It allows for some really unique things to happen. So with all that, and I've got one more example to show you, just a real life look at this, to kind of give you an idea. For the people at home. So as you can see from this, the office technology is really the piece of the puzzle that Dirt does. However, if you look right here, these are the technology walls that that's really the type of technology that you're going to be finding. There won't be chairs like that in the hallway, but if we set up chairs, you could watch some really nice movies on these things. These are going to be fantastic. But it's a glass wall with the screens behind the glass. They're going to be modeled and colored after what we already have in the hallway now. So I just kind of wanted to give you like a real life picture of what it looks like.
Thank you.
So with that, the amount that is in your board packet, the $50,000 number is actually lower than that. The new total that has been revised by Dirt is $47,816. The 4 technology walls will come out of the communication department budget for capital outlay, and the remaining $2,376.50 for the assessor's non-tech wall, the separation wall for privacy, will be coming out of the building and grounds capital outlay. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have about this.
Who made the motion? Miller or Miller?
Yes, I did. So with this project, you mentioned the senior area will have a television screen. And I believed you said, and I could be wrong, you said the screen would be around 40 inches?
Let me look up the senior screen.
Well,
40.
my only recommendation is, I know as I get older, I need a bigger screen. In fact, we all went to bigger iPads for that very reason. And I'm thinking 40 inches is not, I don't think it's big enough as I mature. I think you might need a little bigger,
Get
but looking
older.
at that wall, I wasn't sure if that was even possible.
These are the biggest screens for the spaces.
Okay.
We maximize the usage of the screens to the space. I put that.
Increase the font.
If you look at,
Increase the font. That's what I do.
You can only do that so much.
if you look at the senior space,
Your space is a small section, about the same size as
The smallest space, and they're already walking up to every day. They walk up there to look at the flyers that are there. We're just trying to maximize that.
They'll only be about 3 or 4 feet away from it, is that correct?
They're
Yeah,
gonna be right
they're-
next to it.
And
Right. This is more, when you're standing there, the screen is going to be really, it's relatively close to you.
So who will be responsible for the programming and ever-changing of that screen? Will it be done by one
communications department.
person for all?
The communications department, but the directors will submit the stuff to the communication department, which will screen it, scan it, and put it up on the videos.
What's great about this, it will showcase everyday events that we have, your eye is drawn, and you won't have a sea of papers on the wall, which I like. You get lost in right outside the township door right here. There's so many papers to read, and they're not updated. They're not pulled, so this looks great. So when you install these, when will the plexiglass go down on them? I mean, are you going to talk about the process of the installation and how that won't get cracked or bumped?
So there's a little bit of electrical work that's going to be done separately from the installation with our AV integration company that we have. So the TVs will be purchased separately. As you know, the prices are a lot lower. There'll be connectivity to our network, not only through our Wi-Fi system, but as a direct connection. And once those wires are in place, actually, as of tomorrow, we will, if approved, we will move forward with the process of ordering the product tomorrow. It is a 4 to 5 week turnaround time to install. What'll happen is the AV integrators will come out immediately, start working to install the wires and the lines, and work with our IT department for our network. Then these products are actually built. The pieces of these products are actually fabricated off-site, and they will then come in and put in front of the existing wall, 4 inches, this new dirt wall, which is, there's panels, and then the TVs sit inside the engineered panels, and then the glass is put over the top, and then sealed. It can be changed at a later date because it's like Legos. Once you just call them out and change it up. If you want to add another screen or add a colored panel or wording panel, as you saw in some of the other examples. But in 5 weeks, these should be done.
And the television screens are, like you said, the least expensive part of this whole
Yes.
process.
They are the least expensive piece of the process.
Because I don't want residents to see, oh my gosh, $47,000 they're spending on this project, and they see a sea of televisions, but that's the least expensive part of this whole process.
In fact, one of the most expensive part of this is the actual physical construction, the actual physical construction of the wall itself. The glass panel is probably, that covers the whole thing, is probably the most expensive single piece.
Okay.
It will match our existing
One second,
colors.
I
It's
thought
great.
Trustee Martin would be next if he's got anything to say.
I'm glad to see us investing in technology to take us into the 21st century. I agree with Trustee Miller about the sea of papers we see on the wall is unsightly, and they do not get updated. And I thank Director Best and his department for these innovative ideas that we're seeing.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Frazier.
You know, we went through this kind of idea with these TVs throughout the new high school. And what we found is we've put different TVs at the entrance, at different areas in the high school, but kids don't want to stand there and wait for the announcement that they're looking for. That's from my experience, I'm just telling you. And I'm not sure, you know, if I'm looking for an event, I could look at it on a wall and see it right there. But I think this is a great innovative idea, and I think it will utilize the communication department fully. And I hope that they will keep things updated, because oftentimes on social media, things get outdated. And you're saying, what happened there? They're not keeping their website up or whatever. So I hope we make note of that. And I'd also like to recommend, I think I appreciate the building department's innovative approach on this, and them making the effort to get us into a different era of communicating. I really appreciate that. But I also want to recommend that we're looking for a new place for the HR department to maybe be housed, not in a glass office area. And I think this opportunity, since we're using a wall in the assessor's office to give her privacy, I think we need to re-envision our area at the counter there, and maybe we could actually get Dirt to come in and make a recommendation for the HR department, so it would have more privacy. That's just an idea. But I don't know. I think it's a great move. I hope our citizens will enjoy it, but I'm not sure how many residents actually come into the township hall every day. That's a concern I have. I recommended a couple of years ago that we put a counter at the front door, and it would count how many people come in, and so we'd have a more accurate accounting for how many residents actually visit the township hall. But I think getting us out there and having these things and having an electronic sign in front of the building will be an asset to us.
I actually thought I had those numbers, but I don't, but it's considerably large.
Supervisor.
Trustee White.
I think this is an excellent idea, but I have a couple of questions. Who is going to be responsible for updating the Dirt televisions? Who is also going to be responsible for how it transcends on the monitors? Will it be scrolling, or will there be 6 or 8 letters on each monitor for
Answer
a
that.
period of time? And
Communications Department, that in conjunction with department directors or clerk's office or treasurer's office.
In terms of the style and the type of messages that you're going to see all kinds of different options and media styles that are going to be utilized to get messages across. That's the beauty of our newly hired Ryan in our communications department. He is very, very, Supervisor, we were very lucky. He's extremely talented at what he does.
He actually framed a couple pictures you put on crookedly. The screen went off and it came back on. So he's doing it out there.
Yeah, and so his skill level is impressive, and when his partner, I'm still remembering, Alicia comes on board, I think we're going to have the ability to put different types of messages in different styles to get across to different target audiences. Seniors react well to a certain type of message that comes across differently than what the kids who come in for dance message they pull in. And those are both target audiences for us. So I think the supervisor and you and the board have given us the tools to do exactly what you're asking us to do already. So,
but you don't know how the 16 pieces of paper hanging on the wall are going to appear on the monitors at this time.
Oh, you mean in terms of the public notice board?
Yes.
So there is 4 different softwares that we're looking at. We're going to be working with the AV integrators in our IT department to select one, and then we'll work with the clerk's office to make sure that it meets the standard under the law. what you'll see is what you see there now, which is a static board and paper. And if you want a paper copy, you can then go and ask for that document. There'll be a select of them in the clerk's office. However, new ones and old ones will be able to go through those single pages very quickly and keep it up to date.
But
I wish I could do it sooner because Joanne's knee is.
But what I'm asking is, am I going to be looking at a screen with 6 or 8 different letters on there, or do I have to wait until they're scrolled through?
No, actually, the
Don't know.
the
We really don't
255,
know.
the 3 55-inch screens have has more surface area than the existing public notice boards. So we'll be able to put all the public notices we currently put up on those screens. So.
We
saying that we don't know.
yeah, we can't know for sure, but that's what we have different ways of doing it. We could scroll it, we could post them all up together, depending on how many we have. But we have to get we're getting the software, which is not expensive, just to make sure that we comply with the posting laws because the software allows us to. But it has myriad of ways to allow us to post it.
Mhm.
So there's a learning curve.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of that.
I would think that in order for us to be in compliance with posting laws, that we would have to put either 6 or 8 letters per screen and leave them there for the duration of their time, because we can't have something only be posted once every 8 minutes or something like that.
And that's why we're going to be getting the software that keeps us in compliance.
Okay.
All right, is there any other questions on this?
No.
Okay,
Just to clarify, the 47,000 doesn't include the TVs, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
I have a motion by trustee Miller, supported by trustee Martin. Hearing no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Moving on now to, number 5, consider approval of the purchase from American Interiors to complete the main office furniture renovation. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion
Okay,
to consider approval of the purchase from American Interiors to complete the main office furniture renovation to include miscellaneous furniture items, including new boardroom, audience chairs, furniture for public safety, and benches for the main hallway at the cost of $168,792.27.
trustee Miller, supported by clerk Wright. Okay, Director Best?
As part of the CIP Plus project that we have been working on for the past year, we bring to you the final plan installment from that CIP project for the finish of the furniture. This purchase also includes the miscellaneous furniture items, including new boardroom audience chairs, furniture for public safety, and benches for the main hallway. The total furniture cost is $168,792.27. On the visualizer, I have a breakdown of the costs for each of those items plus the labor costs, which we shared with you last time. The main office furniture cost is $137,462. The public safety furniture, which includes the remaining chairs and miscellaneous furniture items, there's a credenza for their paper, for their copy area, and a couple other pieces. That's $11,000. The boardroom chairs, 100 boardroom chairs, which will replace these wonderful green chairs that we all love. That's $8,000 and change. There are some benches for the hallway waiting areas, as well as a locker for the employee women's locker room, or a bathroom. There's a locker for the women's bathroom. Those items are $8,000 as well. Labor for the installation comes out to be about $3,500 for a total of $168,792.27. This is from American Interiors. These are already the lowest prices you can get for this product. These are also from our interior designer who worked and picked these out, picked out the finishes with the appropriate areas that are getting furniture. If you go to the public safety department, you can actually see the furniture they picked actually matches their decor. Casey, the public safety department's executive assistant, yeah, she has a whole new desk, and they picked the color, they picked everything out that was part of the previous one. This is a finish for it, for the remaining furniture like that. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have about this.
Trustee Miller.
So the chairs that you're talking about, the audience chairs, these are comfortable, I think. We've all sat in them for long periods of time. What color will they be? Will they match? And how comfortable are they? I haven't seen anything, and so I just want to, I'm kind of partial to them. They have great memories, and what will happen with the ones that are still in good shape?
So I have here the boardroom assembly chair that we have selected, that the interior designer selected. It's not that color. It's not the orange. The color is going to match the work that's being done in here. We're almost done bringing the boardroom stuff together. However, in order to get the chairs here in time, we needed to order those chairs early. And so we'll be getting this chair, which, as you can see from this, the reason we selected this chair is its stackability. These chairs are going to last as long or longer as these have. They have they're a little bit higher. They're 17.5 or 17.5 inches, I think, from the, right? 17, I think it's 17. No, it's more than that. It's a standard height for a chair. It matches our other chairs that we've purchased for the other rooms. We're getting 100 of these. So right now I think we have less than 100 out. We also have some stacked. When the closets get put in, the closets are sized appropriately to stack the rest in there. These green chairs are actually going to be our backup chairs for large events for our Otisville Sheldon room. They will be stored in the adjacent to the Otisville Sheldon room with the blessing of the clerk for the voting, because there's at the voting space that there's chairs in there right now. So we'll be sharing that space for the chairs. But these chairs will be a welcome upgrade.
And are they comfortable? Have you sat in them? I have to ask.
So these chairs, if you've sat in, these chairs are the exact same body, the shaping as the guest chairs that we have in our offices and developmental services, as well as the audience chairs we have in the Denton room. So the angle of the back and the material, it's all the same. This just has less padding on it on the bottom side. I guess that's the appropriate way to say it, the bottom side. They are very comfortable. We tried them out at the American Interiors, which, on a side note, you'll be getting an invitation soon to set up your time to go out to American Interiors and pick one of 3 chairs that we'll have available based on the high back chair comment that you all asked for. But that's, you have to go separately or in small groups. So,
All right, so
Color, again, will be the same as the other offices?
I believe we selected, I want to say we selected sterling.
Point.
I believe we selected sterling. We have the colors picked out in here, but I'm not really ready to talk about them yet because I want to get the boardroom stain, the board table stain finished, and I want to bring the fabric for the back of the walls here to you too.
Well, the township looks great. The colors look great. So I'm sure it'll all come together. Right now, it looks wonderful.
A lot of people have worked very hard to put that together. So.
And when you walk in, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
Clerk Wright?
Well, I'm just glad to see that this is coming to near end. It's a great thing. I think I was for it in the beginning. It has been a long time since the township has done any type of upgrade, and it is our responsibility to keep the township halls up to speed. And that being said, I've heard a lot of comments with people coming in so far, and we haven't finished yet, but good compliments on the decor so far, and I look forward to seeing the boardroom redone. But I think it's a good thing. I think it's something that's well long overdue. Stuff may look like it's feasible, but it really, well, you have to sit in it for some time to understand that it's past its lifetime expectancy. So, yeah, I think it's a great thing. Looking forward to it.
Okay. Does anybody else want to comment on this? Okay, I have a motion by trustee Miller, supported by clerk Wright. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. The next item is to consider approval of Lawrence Clark Incorporated in the amount of $139,293, which will include a 10% contingency fee to be used at the direction and discretion of the Water and Sewer Director to address changes and unforeseen conditions that may arise in the construction of the Belleville Square Water Main Loop project.
Supervisor, so moved.
Trustee Frazier.
I say we approve what was just previously read.
Thank you. Great. Okay, Director.
Board's had an opportunity to take a look at this, and if there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer. The primary driver for this is the presence of a dialysis clinic that exists in that complex. And looking at it, we felt that the dead-end main that runs behind the complex was not an adequate or appropriate fit for that complex. We feel that the dialysis clinic in particular needs a continuous flow of fresh, clean water, and that if there's any disruptions on any other section of the main, this would provide us the ability to continue to provide them with water, even if we had to shut a portion of the main down. So that was the primary driver behind this project, and that's why it was recommended to the board.
Trustee Frazier?
I just think it's a necessary thing that has to be done. I wonder why we didn't have the loop in the first place, but that was done a long time ago. So, in that shopping center, so it was like one of the first ones that was put in. It's the old Farmer Jack's location, in case you're not familiar with it. But I think it's a good thing to be proactive on supplying water to our businesses.
Yeah, and just to add to that, just so the board is aware, there's over 36 dead ends in our water main system throughout the township. The township grew up in bits and pieces. It didn't grow up all the same with a grid in mind for laying out a water main or sanitary system. We have portions of the township that doesn't have sanitary services. We have portions that do not have water services. And that's how the township grew up. And so when these things were laid out, it was a matter of trying to make the best fit for the topography and what the layout was. There are some areas that we are just not going to be able to loop the system. So we do the best we can in order to provide the water, and we do annually go out and we flush those areas in particular that we know are dead ends.
Clerk Wright, did you have any comments?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else? Hearing none, I have a motion by trustee Frazier and supported by clerk Wright. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? This motion passes. Thank you very much, Director. Number 7. Number 7 is an ordinance. This is a second reading. Who would like to make the motion and read the ordinance in its entirety?
I make the motion to consider the approval of the first and second reading of ordinance 1001-19 to modify the requirements of the zoning ordinance with regard to required setbacks for non-conforming single-family residential zone parcel with lake frontage.
Support.
I heard Mr. Martin at that time, but that's good. All right, so, Director?
Yes, this is the second reading of the ordinance that very simply changes the setback requirements for non-conforming single-family residentially zoned parcels with lake frontage. There are a handful of properties on Belleville Lake that do not currently meet the width standard for a single-family home lot. However, you cannot prevent someone from building on a piece of property. However, when you have the setbacks that we do under our current ordinance with a 50-foot lot, the building envelope becomes very, very small, and you get this very skinny product. What this allows the township to do is proportionally change the setbacks to the lot size. In particular, it allows and I'll read it from when lots do not comply with the minimum required lot width, the narrowest side yard shall be not less than 5 feet or 15% of the lot width, whichever is greater, and the sum of the two side yards shall not be less than 30% of the lot width. So in the example of a 50-foot lot, you could now have a 35-foot wide building envelope, whereas before the building envelope was much smaller. A 35-foot building envelope is actually feasible, whereas the smaller one becomes very difficult to do. This is for a handful of non-conforming lots and would not apply to new lots created because the township would not allow lots that did not meet the front yard the width requirement to be allowed to be split off. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I got to go off the list here. Clerk Wright, do you have a question?
No, this is second reading. All my questions been answered.
Clerk, Trustee Martin?
No questions.
Trustee Frazier?
I'd just like to say, I think it's a good ordinance. We held public hearings, we had input from the residents that live on the lake, and it gives property owners an opportunity to build and improve their properties and more tax base for the township. So it's a win-win for all of us.
Anybody else wish to speak on this?
Well, I
Trustee
think
White?
what we're going to see is what was commonly called back in the day shotgun houses. It'll be long and narrow, and I'm sure with today's architects and designers that they can create a house like that that is very presentable to our neighborhood, and it could be a pretty expensive house too. It could be 35 feet wide and 60 feet deep.
We're only talking about 5 or 6 of these lots on our whole lake.
Understand that. But still, as I say, with the designers today, could make a pretty damn really good-looking house like that. So,
Okay. Hearing no further discussion, I have a motion by Clerk Wright. It's supported by Trustee Martin. Hearing no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I'm sorry, this is a second reading. Roll call, please.
Trustee Martin?
Yes.
Trustee Frazier?
Yes.
Trustee Miller?
Yes.
Trustee White? Yes. Trustee Bud is excused. Clerk Wright, yes. Supervisor?
Yes. Thanks. Dan, are you out there? Okay, we have reports, we have none. We're in public comments section. I would like to call Dan Selman for something that we tried to do earlier.
That would have been from earlier from Pam Fleming, who spent many years in our public safety department, but she was used to meetings starting at 7 o'clock, so she sent me over her announcement that she would have read. So Pam Fleming is the coordinator of the Belleville, Van Buren Goodfellows, and they're announcing that on Monday, November 4th, registrations for 2019 Christmas assistance will begin and run through December 6th. Residents must reside within Van Buren Township or the city of Belleville. Registration forms will be available at the Van Buren Township Police Department. They must show proof of residence with either a driver's license or current utility bill at the time of registration. Registration forms will also be available at the township website at www.vanburen-mi.org. If you have any questions about the program, they can contact Pam Fleming at 734-260-4150.
Is there anybody else from the public that wishes to speak during non-agenda items? Hearing none, are there any board comments for non-agenda items? Board comments, non-agenda items?
I just have a reminder that the Belleville Area Council for the Arts is still accepting artwork until October 18th for the community art show that will be held at the Belleville Yacht Club on November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And Friday night, you can win prizes. And so it's a good opportunity to get recognized as an artist in our community.
Okay, trustee Miller?
Miller? Are you going, or did he just call the wrong name? Okay. So since this is the last meeting before the Candy Loop, I do want to add one thing, that the Park and Recreation Department will be taking collections, food donations for area food banks, and they're looking for canned tuna, peanut butter, applesauce. There's such a need in our community. So if you'd like to give a treat, when you're coming through that Candy Loop, there will be a spot where you can drop off a canned good or a donation. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Hearing none, can I get a motion for adjournment?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Miller? Support. Frazier, all in favor? Aye. Aye. Motion passes. We're adjourned. Thank you.